Hello, everybody. I had a few questions for Brian. Some of the experiences that I had growing up. I had my first child at 18, and I went through a lot. So I realized the effects that my mindset had on my older children. And so I kind of want to ask him, like, how important is it for us to get our mindset together as mothers? You know what I'm saying? And how do we see that manifest later on in their lives? Like, I know growing up, we always talk about how our parents treated us like this, and then we end up doing the same thing, how to break cycles and things like that. So, how important is mindset?
it's, it's uh it's absolutely important, and I got to start by saying, obviously I'm not a mother, so when speaking to a mother or speaking on motherhood, I have to put out this pretext that I'm speaking from the experience of a son, um, and what I learned through my experiences with my mother, and how it related to my my life, my understanding of life, my perception of of things and stuff, stuff like that. And then I'm speaking from a king's point of view, regarding I guess the way that I feel uh, a queen responsible for for mothering our seeds would be. And then I'm speaking just human being to human being. So I'm not claiming to know anything about being being a mother, but for human being to human being, we have a lot of things in common that as if we individuals could could work on, we'd definitely be healed, whole, happy, and and healthy. So I'm speaking from that place. So the question is, why is it important for us to heal so that we can be healthy parents, whether it's parents, single parenthood, or I guess it's more specifically co-parenthood. Um, if our mindset is not in a proper place, you can't be leading. You know, a general or anyone in a leadership position, whether it be in the military, whether it be in an organization or corporation, or just in a household, you know, has to have a clear vision of the direction that things should be going in, so that they can lead and tell all the other functioning and operating entities of that organization or corporation or family how and what needs to be. So you don't have the privilege and the luxury of making the right choices if your head is not in the right place, because then you're probably operating out of wounds. And that's why we have to heal, because if you don't heal, um, your lower self, is your subconscious, is always looking for ways to operate out of that unresolved pain, and ways to, much like a child reacting to something um, that pushed them there, in a very childlike manner and childish manner. I see adults do the same thing when a certain button is pushed in them, and that's because they have a deep rooted, unhealed trauma that might stem back towards childhood, because you don't ever exist past that point of pain. So whether it's something from your childhood and that formed your identity by way of your mindset, your habits, your characteristics, and different things about you that you later on put in one thing and say, well, this is my personality, when it really just learned behaviors that you learned as you were surviving in different situations, in different environments. You carry that on into your adulthood, into your parenthood, and now your reasoning and your logic is coming from a place that your mind is at, where that pain is at, and that's not here. That's back there, and it's just somewhere that you haven't healed from. It's a place that you haven't healed from. So that spills into our children as we form them within the logic of our pain. And you know how we are as parents. We say things out, as when they ask us why, we'll explain to them quick and snap at them like, cause such and such and such and such. And and that might have been your logic and your reason at the moment, but keep in mind you're using your logic and using your reason, acting out of pain. So that circumstance might have made sense to you, but that shouldn't have been the business model that you gave to this child. You know, that shouldn't have been the understanding that you gave them, because that's not reality. That was your reality at the moment. And so that's just one example of how these things affect and impact our children. And then you want to learn to be not be toxic. I mean, because who wins? No one wins in that situation. And you are teaching a child behavior patterns that they shouldn't be okay with, that they shouldn't adapt to. You're teaching them a way of handling people that they shouldn't be familiar with and shouldn't think is okay. How could your child have, my child, how could your child have an understanding of what a healthy relationship looks like if you haven't given them an example of what one looks like? How could they possibly grow up and mature and put themselves in a situation that they should be in if all the examples that they have been of unmature and toxic behavior?